Hello folks, today I'm going to be taking a look at some more giant stompy 80s robots for Traders Galaxy's Bot War as I take a look at the Champions of Life for the Trashers. Okay, so the Trasher Champions of Life box for Bot War. As you can see, interesting little bunch of people. This is one of the new sets, so it contains all the stat cards. The older sets that didn't have the wraparound print on it, just had the Bot War logo, didn't have the stat cards, you just had to download those. It explains here who the Trashers are. Essentially, Valiants who have uploaded code into themselves as they sort of go on a silent mission to purge themselves of some grievous sin that they've perpetrated in the past. Nobody knows why, they don't really talk about it, they just get stuck in, kill people up, which is lovely. Inside the box you get a little A4 postery flyer, bots on one side, Bot War Turbo Edition on the other, showing you other things in the range. You also get the cards and miniatures, which we'll have a look at in a moment, and the relevant bases, so 4 40mm and 1 50mm, and one of my grey hairs. Now, let's have a look at the actual figures then. So I'm going to start with Smasher. I've built these up already. They are mostly one-piece torso, legs and head, and then the arms are separate. In fact, I don't think I had to put a head on any of these. Yeah. So the cast themselves are resin. They are coloured, so you can just glue them together and start playing. You don't have to paint them if you don't want to. Very good casts. On one or two of them, there's slight seam line that you might spot here and there that will require a little bit of cleanup. So there's one there at the very base of the elbow joint. But in the whole, very, very, very good. Smasher, as you can see, if you've played Bot War before, this is the standard card. If you've not, start at the top. SR is the strategy rating. It's when you activate in a turn. M is your move in inches. RA is the ranged. First number is the number of purple attack dice used, and then the second is if you're short. So much better up close and personal. CA is your combat, so that's 3 dice, and then SH is the shields. So when you defend, it's how much damage they can take, and then the energy cubes they generate, and special ability. So combat mace means your opponent gets -1 shield dice when you attack. Combat shield allows you to change one of the shield dice for a crit die, and the crit die are much better, the higher values on them, not as many blanks. It is a core combiner. He sits on the big 50mm base, and we'll get into the combiner later on. But yeah, he's a stocky, beefy fella, mid-range, doing a smashing job. Next up is Bruiser, and again, very similar profile. Range isn't great, but they are not known for their long range capabilities, but for getting up close and smashing people. He also has a combat axe paired with a combat shield, so the axe gives him +1 damage if he gets through, and the shield obviously protects him a bit better. Again, they have a very industrial feel, lots of sort of heavy machine moving parts, treads, tracks, that sort of thing. Big earth movers, spiked wheels. You can see there, bit of cleanup required along that arm. But again, really nice figure. Then we have Dicer. So Dicer, ram attack, combine, we'll get to those at the end, because they all have that, but he's wielding combat scimitars. He's got a combat value of 3, so a bit beefier up close and personal. The scimitar gives him a 2 dice reroll, so rolling 3 die and can reroll 2 of them. And of course, you'll get a crit die in there. Really like the pose on this one. Charging forward. Blades, one held backwards and one forward. It's very 80s. I could see him in a martial arts movie. Our other scimitar wielder is Ruckus. Just has the combat scimitar. I wouldn't say he's one of the weakest, but, you know, he gets by. He's got an eye patch, which is always good. Again, really nice detail on him. Spiked, I suppose, cuff/gauntlet. These are beautifully cast, I will say. I really appreciate the coloured resin as well that they've started doing with Trader Galaxy. So if you don't want to paint, or you don't have the time to paint, you can just play them without messing around. And our last, Beat Up. Combat axe, so again that +1 damage if he gets through. He is also a pugilist though, which gives him a 1 dice reroll. So it's the old 1-2. Hit him with the axe, punch him in the face. Again, really nice model. Really unique ramshackle look to them. Now, Beat Up, I think, is our smallest. This is a game that, while it doesn't have a specific scale tied to it, I think it's like 1 to 600, something like that. About 8 to 10 mil. So these are big comparison to humans. He is around about 34 mil, about 32 to eye level. Smasher is, I believe, the biggest. And he comes in as a whopping 43 to eye level. And probably about 45 mil all in. You can see he dwarfs his tiny buddy. Ram attack, which they all have. They are very keen on getting into combat. Ram attack allows them to move an additional 3 inches. It costs 2 energy cubes to get it off, but they gain an additional crit die when they fight a melee immediately afterwards if they end up in combat. So this is bread and butter for these guys. They want to be in combat. You need to be pushing them forward into combat. And when you do so, you can do an awful lot of damage, especially combined with a lot of those rerolls. So unlike a lot of bots, they are very much at home when it comes to fighting. Now, the other thing they have is combine. They are champions of life. And the champion of life is this Godzilla-like creature who is Trashosaur. It's an absolutely stonking bit of kit. I will say I was shocked how few pieces it was. You see from below there. So this entire front torso and head is 1 piece. The entire back tail is 1 piece. And then each of the arms and legs are separate. So it's a 6-piece kit. He dwarfs the people he comes from. He's very happy to be Godzilla. And again, a really nice cast. Really interesting design. You can see obviously all the tires and wires and bits and bobs. It's very comic booky in that if you look at it, you're going, well, those pieces don't make sense when you upscale them to a giant trasher monster. But we all love that. He has an upkeep of 10 energy per turn, which he gets from the people who form him. Now they each only generate 2 energy, so he is quite punchy by himself, but in your power phase at the start when you're sorting out your energy levels, he does have 2 titanic abilities because he is a combiner. He can use that massive tail to do a titanic tail smash, which will give him +3 damage. He's got 3 attack dice and 3 crit dice right off the bat. I suppose that would go up to 4 crit dice because he'll get 1 in combat. It should be a one-shot kill on a regular bot, to be fair, because he's just enormous. However, he's also got an energy roar, which is a short-ranged Godzilla-like electricity blast attack, and it has surge on it, so if the target he hits has energy cubes on it, he'll do additional damage based on that, which is great. However, he is a champion of life, which means he can turn that energy roar into a healing beam for your own bots, and it's a 3 crit die heal, which could be very potent indeed. It could take somebody from the cusp of death all the way up to, I think, 9 health. So a lot of bots have sort of 6, 7, 8. So, you know, focusing your energy to stop or not stop, but to do less damage in one turn just to bring your bot back up to full health could be well worthwhile. Really, really nice model and a really interesting combiner to run out on the tabletop in Bot War. But there you have it, the Trashers. So there we have it, and as a man once said, we should run even though it looks like Godzilla, even though it's not, because that avatar of life is absolutely fantastic. And game-wise, very interesting, having a giant stompy combiner also be a support unit, vomiting forth his hot, delightful healing beams onto people. So there you have it. Interesting little set of figures, really good in game, and in a game where so much is based on sort of long to medium range shooting, having a bunch of berserker bots just wanting to get in there and punch face, essentially, is always good because it shakes up people and keeps them guessing. But let me know what you think of the Trashers below, and if you're into Bot War, what faction you're engaged with. Until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.